Hello Ratbags, it's Jade with another Assassin's Creed Valhalla guide today, taking you through the legendary creatures Black Shuck. This was one of the hardest challenges I've faced so far, mainly because he was a whopping 70 levels above me. 160, I'm only level 90 just, and I just about defeated him after 3 or 4 attempts. So here's some tips, whether or not you're doing it on the same level, whether or not you're going to try and do a little bit of Dark Souls action like me. Here's what I've learned facing this huge black dog. You're flying Black Shuck right to the southeast of East Anglia. You can see here, just in this location, this is where we're going to find him. It's pretty much near this lake. There should be a bridge if you're coming up from the south, or you might have come across this way as you head towards Essex. It's a lot easier to spot the legendary creatures when you haven't actually explored that part of the map yet, as it always has a little picture of them just over the top. Actually, when you start exploring the area, that picture disappears, so always try and keep track of them, put a little pointer on them so you remember. You'll find these ruins and you'll find the posthumous Black Shuck eating away at something. Now I've shown you guys a few methods how to deal with zealots, mainly by spamming or holding down the L1 button and using your special abilities, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. You're actually going to have some skill level here. That's why you might want to wait until a bit later, but I actually really enjoyed the challenge. I found that I'm overpowered going into East Anglia. Literally it's like level 50 and I'm level 88 or whatever it is. So this was a good challenge because all the rest of it's been pretty easy so far. Absolutely, you need armor that's going to give you best evade scores. So whatever it is, if you've managed to upgrade or boost, or you find something, whatever's going to give you the most evade and most speed. My 4.9 critical chance rune is my go-to rune nowadays for most of my weapons and stuff, and in all my armors I generally have health runes. Still quite minor, so if you've got anything better than that, then go ahead and obviously equip it, but it's the 4.9 critical chance. That's how much damage you'll do if you do pull off a critical hit. Now I went for my tried and trusted method of my axes. I found that these, particularly the ones that are going to give you speed, so like the Housecarl's axe or the special one I got from Varian's axe, they're both pretty good because they both offer a lot of extra speed hits. Now what I found was I couldn't get the rhythm like I had with a lot of the zealots, the battles. I just couldn't do what I was normally doing, which is, like I said, hitting that L1 button on them and then go ahead and using special abilities. He's got quite 2 big stages of attacks, and this is what you really got to be careful for, because a lot of the time it wasn't actually prompting or showing that he was going to lunge at me. So you kind of really just got to be on the move at all times. He's also got that big attack where he literally will start munching on your arm, so you've got to spam the RB button to get away from him. We're going to cover them phases in a little bit more depth in a second. But here you can see how it just doesn't work like it does with the zealots or some other ones. He will start just munching on you. So this was when I started to realise that maybe axes weren't the way to go, and I would need something a little bit different. So I pretty much took him to more than half health down, but as you can see my supplies were completely running out. There's a fair amount of mushrooms in this place, so that's the next big top tip is don't use up your rations. Run around and use up the mushrooms first. Who knows, maybe they'll even spawn back by the time you actually defeat him, but not in this case. But there's at least 4 rations here, maybe even 5, so if you run around it should keep your health going. If he does get you to anywhere close to half or quarter health gone, make sure you go and use one of the mushrooms up. And there's even an adrenaline shot here, so you may want to make sure that you've got some of your skill perks that give you the adrenaline shots. You can find these in the Raven skills, but you can see it just wasn't ending up working when I switched. I really shouldn't have switched midway, most likely. I then see what I could do with a spear. I thought maybe the extra speed would do pretty good and the extra range. And to be fair, it is good, but my spear is pretty underpowered. I'm wearing, as you can see, all its superior gear. The only weapon I have got, which is mythical, is an axe that I got from Ubisoft store, the Connect one with my special Ubi points that I had. So you may want to think about that or use a mythical weapon, but it just wasn't doing enough damage with this spear. This took forever to get to this point. I was literally only doing like 40 damage, 35 damage with the spear each time. So if you've got a much more powerful spear, the speed and quickness and the range of it might actually be really good, but for me, because it was so weak sauce, it just wasn't going to be the one. Now you can see him with that status attack where he runs with yellow, you quickly just dodge out of it. Again, I've got one of the abilities where it slows down movement speed or slows down time so that you can get in for an attack. But it's really hard to pull off with this guy because it kind of just seemed a bit off. Every time it flashed and I moved, it was either too late or too slow. So you kind of have to get in at least 1 hit anytime he does that, even if it doesn't slow down. Just try and get 1 hit and hopefully range will be your friend. Apologies about the quality, my videos have been pretty crisp lately. I've just upgraded to a 4K encoder, but for some reason when I put it back down to 1080/60, I was hoping to get better frame rates. It made it a little bit dark and a little bit fuzzy, so hopefully that'll be fixed next time. Anyhow, he goes on a rampage this one. You'll see him, he just constantly attacks. That's when he's about half health. He'll normally go into the corner of the courtyard and start shaking his head and drooling. That's a sign you need to just be running and getting out of the way as much as possible, and I didn't obviously make it out of the way this time. It almost felt like the game wanted me to lose. You can see that was it there. He was using his rage and he'll just simply beast you. So I decided to switch to Moonlight, which is my special big huge axe. And I used the backstab critical rune here as well. That was really important to get extra backstab damage too. Don't try and cheese him and stand on top of any of the pillars or the walls. He'll simply start replenishing his health really quickly, or you won't even be able to hit him with arrows. Now I just upgraded my arrow shots to 20, but I stupidly came into this fight with not a single arrow. So yeah, you may want to stock up and be able to soften him up a little bit from range and do quite a bit of damage if you're pulling off critical chance. And I guess if you put in more points into critical hits, you could have a lot more success with a ranged option. But I had to get really close up to him. As you can see, I'm taking advantage of the replenishment of my skills. As I said, I've got the free slots for my adrenaline, and yeah, I'm using that to good effect. I would say the harpoon bolt or the diving Valkyrie is going to be the two best ones. I tried using the throwing axe one, it just wasn't the one. And obviously, I don't think you can necessarily pound it against the wall. If you're lucky and you use the harpoon effect better, you may be able to swing him against the wall and get more damage, but it never really seems to do that. I would say the diving Valkyrie is probably my favourite. Whenever it does come up, I desperately try and use it quickly. But yeah, you can see I'm doing pretty much a mixture of light and heavy attacks, and just it became a point of just moving any time he was going to lunge, whether or not it was going to be yellow, red or not. Anytime that guy moves, I'm going to be ducking out the way and hopefully pulling off a shot behind him. This isn't a cheese video, this is me showing you how hard this boss fight really was. It felt a bit like Dark Souls like. He moves super quick, so the axes were good because they were speedy, but I just didn't have enough range. He could just get out of the way so much. Here though, little shots that I was doing off were getting at least 45, maybe 35 damage off, and that's the Valkyrie dive. Absolutely pummels him, then you can line up for a couple heavy shots maybe when his back's down. You also saw that was the slowdown ability I've got, the skill that I've got through my skill points. So you can earn that, like I said, go through the Raven clan stuff and you will find all of them. Obviously, I've probably done it in, what, 88 points? I reckon you probably only need about 60, 65 maybe, and you'll be able to get the 2 bonus slots for the adrenaline as well as the slowdown time. I think them 3 are pretty crucial for this fight. So on my 4th attempt, it took me 7.5 minutes to actually defeat him using this method of just running, making sure my stamina was pretty high and dodging out of the way of almost any attack. Anytime he looks like he's about to move, you've got to be able to dodge. You could try effectively parry him, but I kept getting so worried about it being the red attack, and then that just absolutely demolishes you, that I felt like dodging was the best way to go. You can see there the diving Valkyrie was massively OP. I managed to get in a good big hit afterwards too. And that's what you really need to do. Although sometimes it might be better off to maybe do just a single little hit, because the heavy hits do take so long to wind up with the two-handed axe. I've only got this about halfway upgraded as well with this, although it is a mythical legend. It's got pretty decent attack speed and obviously attack, but yeah, it's still not like the best axe I can make it. You can pull off a few shots while he's in his rage mode, but that's it, you've got to get out of the way. You can see he does 3 or 4 lunges in quick succession, almost in a little square or a little circle, and absolutely make sure you're making use of all of these mushrooms first before using your rations. I know you can fill up your rations anyway, so if you come in here and you've only got like 1 ration, you might as well fill them all up straight away, but otherwise I had 3 rations before I'd even got here, and that's why I decided to do it. And this is it, he's nearly coming at me again. He's at the point now where he's going to start raging out. This is the slow version though, it's absolutely crucial. You can see how much I did in there, 57, which wasn't the biggest huge amount, it wasn't the critical, 41 straight from the front, and you just got to try and hopefully catch him with a couple hits before he lunges at you. He does occasionally run back and forth or right into the corners like this, and he'll just go back and forth along the walls, and then if you get too close to the walls he can actually pin you against the walls, and that was really a problem as well. So make sure you stay kind of in the middle, don't go too close to the sides. I decided not to cut the video, I wanted to show you the full fight. Obviously it means me waffling on a little bit more. But yeah, this is definitely the toughest one. Like, the elk was okay. This is the second legendary creature I've killed. Are they worth it? Well, you get 2 skill points out of it, and obviously you get Black Shuck's head to put inside your actual longhouse. But otherwise, it's not a huge amount of rewards. Like, I guess it's something you want to do, but maybe don't seek it out like I was. Blatantly, I was just trying to do it to show that I could do it maybe before others, or show that I was a badass. Obviously, you've got to take some obligatory shots, and that is Black Shuck. He's brown bread. Hope you've enjoyed this little guide. If it's helped you, let me know. Go and check out all my other Assassin's Creed videos, and I will be showcasing every single legendary creature fight I can. Until next time, ratbags, laters.